Sorry guys, normally I have a button on my hand where if I just press it, the camera will just start recording. However, I kind of drop it in the middle of nowhere, and now it's basically like finding a needle in a haystack. Anyways, hi, my name is Chelsea Cat, and I'm trying to, this video is actually a continuation video from the previous one where I mentioned the word cognitive semantics, and I just wanted to give a little bit more details about it, where I realized that this whole topic is actually under the large topic of linguistics, where normally you have to learn it through books, learn it in school. And fortunately, I did find a lot of videos online. I watched a little bit, and now I understand a little bit more, where I'm making this video not as a substitute to those great lectures, but that is their domain. However, I'm trying to make a video where I try to tell you what I understand about it and how do I practically apply it in my life. And I will try to link this into our society now. How do we think, how do we process this, and how do we proceed with it? Anyways, we'll start with a recap. That cognitive semantics states that language and meaning are shaped by human thoughts, perception, and experience. Now, previously I mentioned that we live our life subjectively, not objective. And what I mean by that is that normally I hope that I'm always correct. I hope that when I learn officially in school, when I learn it online, when I learn it in books, when I learn it from failures, statistics where it shows this and that, I can pass on this message to the next person, and I hope they just accept it. However, that's not true. That's not how the way it works. And I realized that if I were to keep pushing these notions, if I were to keep telling you this is how you should live your life, you're wrong, I'm right, this is how you should live, it's going to be very difficult. There's 7 billion people in this world, and it gets really frustrating if I just kept pushing. I used to be that kind of person. However, I realized that there's probably a better way to portray my message, to pass on my message to the next person, if I use my brain a little bit more, which eventually I came to this word, cognitive semantics, where it says that we learn the words through mental images and personal experience. Basically, what it means is that we need a way to visualize it, and we need a way to label it, to categorize it, organize it in our minds, in order to register all this like data into our brain. And that's exactly, that's what it is, because this is actually a brain function that normally we would have to actively or passively use it. Before I proceed on, I'm going to give a few examples. I recently watched the movie Superman, the 2025 made by James Gunn, and personally, I find it good. When I say good, or if I gave a 7 out of 10, if I say like 85%, you start to realize that all these ratings doesn't make sense. You know it, you know it, because the thing is, you didn't watch the movie, I did. And our personal taste, our experiences, my understanding, my expectation from the movie is so different than yours, because maybe I know the DC comics and you don't, or you prefer a whole different genre. That is one way to look at it. Second one, the word justice doesn't do it justice, because sometimes it's probably better to say that I prefer the Superman version of justice or Batman version of justice. Some of you guys probably don't know, but the ones who do, they realize that what I mean is that I prefer the more brave, straightforward, more faith in humanity, that kind of way of doing justice. Or I prefer Batman, which is much more paranoia, much more cautious. I do things in the dark, and people won't see it, but it works. Both of them are effective. Both of them are effective, and both of them do achieve the same objective, but the way how to do it, the sense of justice is just not the same. That's another way. One more, I'll give another context. In front of you is a bucket of chicken, or loads of buckets of chicken, and as you're eating it one by one, on your fifth, 6 pieces of chicken, you start to realize that you no longer want to eat it anymore. You probably say along these lines, where I'm done with it, I'm sick of it, and I'm disgusted by it. Objectively, you have successfully gave the message that you no longer want to eat the chicken, but you probably didn't pass on the message how you felt at the time emotionally, how you felt when you're eating so many chicken. The word you're looking for is cloying, C-L-O-Y-I-N-G. Cloying means it's like this food, it is excessively flavorful, whether it's sweet, oily, salty, and to the point that you're disgusted by it. Congratulations, you just learned another word. All this like vocabulary that normally we didn't have to use, we didn't learn it, is because, you know, we thought that we didn't think that we needed, you know. And I just learned it as well recently. I had to look up online. I knew that this word existed in other languages, in Mandarin, in VM, but I never knew it in English. And you know, surprise, there's actually a word. I just have to look it up. I just have to try harder. I'm making this video. I'm not trying to show that. I'm not trying to shove the agenda that say that, oh, you need to be better in English. You know, you need to be better at your language. You need to, you know, you need to learn all these words in order to get your message through. No, I'm saying that's like, if you really want to pass your message through to another person, you have to think more, not just yourself. First is yourself, but think about others as well. That's like how do they feel at the time? Are they ready to receive that message? Are you ready to transmit that message as well? Cognitive semantics is just saying this, like, you know, we have to use our brain, not just ours, theirs as well, and we have to connect somehow. And I realized that, you know, this is one of the reasons why it's been so difficult for me to keep, you know, to tell people things. And when I'm making this video, you probably realize you thought that my English was not the best, you know. Personally, when I'm with my friends and family, I have invested so much effort to the point where I have broke through the barrier where I can just tell them things. I can be personal, heart to heart, and I can be more offensive, more aggressive in my words, and no matter what emotional states I am, they will understand me, they will still accept me, they won't reject me. That is because it's like, that is the amount of effort I have to put in. And in front of a live camera where there's a large audience that I do not know, I need to make sure that I'm not offensive. I need to make sure I don't swear. I need to make sure that the words I use make sense to you, you relate to me. And there's a lot of thoughts that's going through my mind, which kind of makes me stutter. I am getting better at it. I'm trying to getting a better feel of how I can approach. You have to understand this, like, I'm not showing you who I am now. I'm showing you eventually the kind of person I will become. And I hope that, you know, that you can vibe with this, with my persona. And, you know, it's better to figure out what you dislike now than figure out what you like. Humans have a lot of desire. It is what it is. My channel objective is to make sure that, or at least recently, I'm trying to show that, you know, the world we live right now is trying to rob away our ability to think. When now I've already gone through my frustration on my previous video. I realized that I'm thinking lesser and lesser, and because of all these like conveniences, all this technology, AI that keeps selling us, it's like you can just pay your way through things, and you know, you make your life more optimal. It sounds good at first, but then you have to realize it's like we are stronger than this. They're robbing away the skills that we innately already have when we were born, and we have survived for like centuries, a long time, that, you know, no matter what kind of environment we're approaching. I'm not saying that, you know, down with the system, that we should go back to the traditional. No, I'm just saying this, like, we are stronger than this. We are humans. We evolve with the times, and it's about time that, you know, like, it's a wake-up call, at least to myself, that we need to use our brain a little bit more. Do not let people keep selling you these conveniences. Try to be comfortable at uncomfortable times. They won't sell you this. They won't teach you this either. I'm not saying I am. I'm just trying to be a positive influence in this like YouTube space. So this is a quick reminder, you know, if you ever have a moment where you couldn't describe what you wanted to say, I hope that you remember this video, that you understand the way it is, right? You know, when you have difficulties in life, most likely it's because you didn't think. You lost the ability to think. And it's about time that, you know, we try to think more before we speak. So that's the end of my video. I'm gonna have to find